Everyone has their own story after Hurricane Ian.
It was terrifying.
But not everyone is going to remember it.
What you doing?
Like 13-month-old Vincent. His mom, Samantha McCollough, says he was born 6 weeks early and got out of the hospital at the beginning of September.
And then all of a sudden, here comes this hurricane.
She and her husband did what they could and rode it out in their Northport home.
The wind was blowing, it was howling. That's a sound I'll never forget.
It got worse when the power went out and she couldn't see outside.
The hardest part was waiting overnight to see what we were going to wake up to the next morning.
When the sun came up, Samantha went outside.
Our yard was underwater. Our house was an island.
But it wasn't just the water. Trees were also down.
Nobody could get back here. The trees were across the road.
Neighbors called family members, and she says they came with chainsaws so boats could get through. Samantha says Northport Fire Rescue came on Friday, the day before the Myakka River reached a record-breaking flood stage.
Really encouraged us to leave.
She packed up Vincent, her pets, and the essentials, leaving her home not knowing what would happen.
And I just felt really sad when I left the house.
The next day, Samantha came back after hearing reports of looting. Though Northport police tell me they didn't get any, Samantha felt uneasy. At one point, she and her husband had to go out for supplies.
Gasoline, water.
And with the roads like this, they can only get there by kayak and paddleboard. So they all got together and looked for supplies, including Vincent.
I would have never thought that we would have had to have wrapped our infant in a life jacket just to get out of here.
Thankfully, they made it back okay, but Samantha says they cannot leave with their truck for nearly 10 days because of the flooding.
So a full week from the hurricane, the water started receding.
And that gave her time to reflect.
I did notice that there was a greater strength in me after this hurricane.
Hurricane Ian is still really hard to talk about for so many people, especially when you can still see the aftermath, tarps over roofs. One gentleman who lives in this neighborhood talked to me off camera, saying doing an interview would just be really hard on him, reliving those memories of Hurricane Ian. This area flooded tremendously from it. Samantha, I asked her what kind of emotional toll this hurricane still takes on her 1 year later.
When we had the threat of Adalia, I was very nervous.
Though the memories can be hard to think about, Samantha says she's grateful for all the help they received.
We're starting to come back stronger as a community.
And thankful for the people who kept her grounded, even if they can't realize it just yet.
I'm going to tell him he had the ride of his life. He was barely 2 months old and he went through a Category 4 hurricane with his mom and dad, and he did great.
Reporting in Northport, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.